What a week this is going to be. Oh my God. Neptune is moving into Aries early on Monday. Big wake up call for a lot of us. Neptune and Aries will be. Whatever was coming up for you from March of 2025 until around August, September, is going to get a revisitation. I mean, we've already experienced Neptune and Aries. I've been sharing about this in my social media content. I plan to do a YouTube video this upcoming week dedicated to Neptune and Saturn and Aries and the conjunction. So look out for that. Turn notifications on for my channel if you don't have them on already to be notified when that will be live. Big deal. Big deal, Neptune and Aries. This is really a new cycle with Neptune. We are ending out a major chapter in our lives, and anything that we're refusing to take action on or ignoring that our intuition is telling us we really need to do and be disciplined with and committed to as it relates to our new chapter of life, because Saturn is moving into Aries pretty soon as well. And then there's going to be the conjunction with Saturn and Neptune on February 20th. This is the transit of the universe is not playing around. To sum it up, it's going to be a huge wake-up call to those of us that are not doing what we have been led, nudged to do. Whatever we've been avoiding, there's not going to be any room to avoid it anymore. There's not going to be any room to play victim of our lives. There's going to be direct consequences to things that we're avoiding or neglecting about our life and our new chapter. So that's really the major thing that I'm feeling about Neptune moving into Aries, and everything else that's happening this week just amplifies it. Mars is moving over Pluto. There's a lot of momentum towards making major change and transformation in our lives, really getting unstuck from past patterns, past version of ourselves, and really stepping fully into the new, even though it's unknown and it's scary and it's uncomfortable. I just moved across the country like on a whim. I was like, I need to do it, and I need to do it now. I drove like 40 freaking hours in 5 days or something. It was insane. But that's kind of the energy. It's like we kind of have to take the inspired action that we're led to take right now, and everything will work out. But in that process, it requires bravery and it requires courage. That's Aries energy, and everything we have going on in Aquarius as well is very much amplifying that message of we need to move forward, and we need to move forward now. But there's still kind of this liminal space and energy that we're in as well. Again, transitions are challenging. We might not have all the answers. We might not have all the finances that we need in order to step into this new thing, but we just have to trust that it's all going to come into place and it's all going to align as it needs to, when it needs to, when we show the universe, God, that you're really dedicated to the new chapter and path and willing to do whatever it takes to make it happen. You'll be supported. You will be rewarded. That's Saturn and Aries. So like I said, we have Mars moving over Pluto this week. Big deal. After we just had everything else move over Pluto. I mean, drudging up the shit to transform it, to alchemize it and turn it into gold. We also will have a full moon in Leo at the end of this week. So that is also a pretty big deal because it gives us a foreshadowing into the eclipses that we will have this year, because the first one of this year is going to be in an Aquarius on February 17th, the day of the Lunar New Year that we begin the year of the Fire Horse. And then the North and South node will move into Aquarius and Leo later this year, and that will kickstart us on that axis for the eclipse cycles. So full moon in Leo is giving us a foreshadowing into what is really going to be a focal point of change in our lives in the next year and a half, next 2 years, really. So where do you have Leo in your chart? Let me know in the comments. Where do you have Aries in your chart? Also a pretty big deal this upcoming weekend moving forward into 2026. Let me know in the comments. At the end of this video, the very end, after all the horoscopes, I'll be giving you a sneak peek into next week. So make sure you stick around for that, or fast forward to that chapter after you watch your horoscope. And because next week is also got quite a bit going on. But those are the major points of this week. Let me see if there's anything else I want to say. I mean, this is really the time to deal with the stuff that maybe you have neglected about your life or your healing journey or anything that has been reoccurring and creating this kind of like what in your life has felt like a twilight zone where it's just kind of a reoccurring pattern. Now is the time to really deal with it and to really transform it so we don't take it with us. I feel like I've been saying this on repeat the last couple weeks, couple months, to heal the shit so we don't take it with us into our new life and into this new beginning that we all have the major opportunity to step into right now. Is there anything else about this week that I want to say? No. Let's get into the horoscopes. Hi, Aries Rising. We start your week off with the moon in your area of money. So, the emotional focus at the start of the week is going to be on your finances, on your money, on your possessions, maybe even whatever you've been making major change around there. There's a lot of momentum, and you might be challenged or conflicted to really move in a new direction with that. Maybe more in alignment with your long term goals that are changed, or your vision that has changed for your life, or your community, right? There's a lot of change going on in that area of your life, long-term goals, visions, community, social media, maybe even. And there might be something about money that really pressures you to fully step into something new and make a change that maybe know that you've needed to, but maybe have been putting off. That'll especially be the case on Tuesday as the emotional focus is heightened in your area of money on what you're changing. There might be something as well internally that you're called to shift about your energy as it relates to money and possessions, maybe being more embodied in the future you that you're aligning with right now. How would future you handle money or possessions or things of that nature? With Neptune moving into your area of you as well, this is a major news cycle starting with how you envision yourself, how you are embodied in yourself. Your identity might shift. It really feels like a lot of embodiment around what has changed in your inner world that you've been doing healing around. It's kind of like this renewal of yourself and also more alignment with your intuition, spiritual gifts, things of that nature will be boosted with Neptune in your area of you moving forward as well. Later on Tuesday, the emotional focus shifts into your day to day, your communication, transportation. There could be some changes you're making there related to again your long term goals and vision, maybe community as well. Maybe you're putting yourself around different people that are actually going to support you and how your goals have changed, and in making those changes you want to make moving forward. That feels a big focus of the rest of Tuesday and into Wednesday a little bit as well, as there is harmony between where you're going, who you're talking to on a daily basis, and what you know you need to change about your community, put yourself in new situations to meet different people, to support these ways that you're stepping into a new vision for yourself in your life. There could be something on Thursday about that is challenging something in your subconscious or maybe something in your spiritual practice. This could be like you're so busy, you really maybe won't have time for a spiritual practice or something, but it's so important you do the most with what you do have, like, even if it's just taking 5 minutes to yourself to, like, breathe deeply, and it's like there has to be don't let the challenges or the conflicts, like, get you swept up in busyness. There has to be something that really grounds your mental health, on Thursday so you don't get overwhelmed. As we head into Friday, the emotional focus shifts onto your home, family life, how you're supporting and nurturing yourself in your home as well. There's a big sense of maybe healing something and feeling more, like we talked about earlier in the week, being a focus more embodied in something about your inner world, your energy that's shifting, maybe healing of childhood wounds and things like that, are getting a really big focus. And it feels more like they're integrating as we end out the week for you, Friday and Saturday especially. As we shift into Sunday, we have a full moon in your area of creative passions. There could be something you're really feeling called to create or put out into the world. And it's really like this sense of it's go time. You've done all the inner work, you've changed what you need to change, and now it's time to really move forward and act on it, put it out into the world, create it, whatever it is. It feels like fruition, time for it to come into fruition and share it with the world. So that is your week ahead, Aries. Let me know how that resonates with you in the comments, and I'll see you next week. Hi, Taurus Rising. We start your week off with the emotional focus on you. There's a sense at the beginning of the week of this emotional renewal that takes place. It might feel challenging to something that's going on in your career or something in your public image or reputation that you're sharing, that you're communicating, that you're putting out into the world or making a change around. It kind of feels like it challenges you emotionally. And there might be something you really have to look at or create space in order to feel as it relates to that. Neptune is now in your area of subconscious. So there's a lot of focus on what's going on underneath the surface with you, your subconscious, your underworld, for lack of a better word. What is going on with your spirituality, your mental health? There's a huge focus on that and really honoring your intuition as it relates to what you need in order to take care of your mental health in all the ways that are going to support you moving forward and support these changes that are happening in your career and that you're really feeling called to take action on this week, especially on Tuesday. There's a lot of momentum towards making a change in your career or stepping into something new, transforming something that also could majorly shift shift your identity, shift something about embodiment within yourself. Maybe you're aligning more so with humanitarian causes or something like that, and you're really starting to put it out into the world, and it's shifting how you viewed yourself, and really creating more of a sense of wholeness or embodiment within you and how you view you and how you move through life as well. Later on Tuesday and into Wednesday, it feels like there's a big emotional shift into your money, into your possessions. There could be something that comes in with your career related to that, that maybe is like a contract or a book deal or brings in money for you in some way that is related to the change you're making in your career. So if you've been maybe awaiting that or wondering when that was going to happen, it feels like Tuesday or Wednesday, there could be something really that comes in around that. Let me know how that shows up for you in the comments, because this feels like really big energy. And it is maybe something you've been kind of awaiting for a little bit. As we head into Thursday, there could be something though about that emotionally, your emotional focus on money that kind of challenges maybe community or social media or a long-term goal or vision you've had. It could be a friendship, kind of a distant friend or something like that as well. There could be something really challenging with money that happens emotionally that kind of puts pressure on you to evolve or change something about social media or your community or your long-term goals and visions. But I do feel like it's going to ultimately benefit you, even though in the moment it feels really challenging and it feels like maybe unexpected. Um, it is kind of forcing you to evolve in ways that you ultimately do need. And there might also be a sense of needing to like speak up for yourself in some way, that comes up around that too. Especially as we head later into Thursday and into Friday, the emotional focus shifts onto your communication and how you're nurturing yourself through how you speak up for your needs, or what you want, or what is going to actually support you in the best possible way. So there's a lot of focus on that, as we end out the week and into the weekend, on really expanding your sense of how you speak your needs and how you communicate what you need to feel supported and what you need to feel nurtured and cared for, especially as it relates to what's going on in your career. There could be something about that on Saturday that's a little triggering. Again, bringing up these unconscious wounds. There's a huge focus on like your mental health and what's going on underneath the surface, that maybe has felt like a recurring pattern for you. And there's this need to really get to the depths of it. Maybe you have to work with a practitioner, or really like journal it out or go into a deep meditation or something to really see like what is actually going on there, so you can really heal it so it doesn't keep repeating itself in the ways that it has been. So that might be something that comes up on Saturday. As we get into Sunday, we have the full moon in Leo in your area of home. So there could be something about your home that is manifesting at this time that feels more joyful, or about your family life that feels more joyful and feels like you really have overcome the challenges of the week and made the most of it. And at this point, it's maybe there's a celebration that needs to happen or something like that, where you realize, like, oh, I've actually done a great job at handling this. And now I get to celebrate me, or celebrate my family, or celebrate my home, or something about that in some way. So that feels like a focus of the full moon for you, Taurus. And that is your week ahead. Let me know how it resonates in the comments, and I'll see you next week. Hi, Gemini Rising. We start your week off with the emotional focus on your subconscious, on what's going on with your mental health, what's going on underneath the surface of things. There might be something really challenging that comes up Sunday, Monday, around a belief system or a way that you are viewing life. Like your philosophies, your perspective of life is really being challenged, and challenging you to look at emotionally maybe what's been going on underneath the surface that's causing a certain belief system to perpetuate. Now that Neptune is in your area of community and friends and social media, there's something that really the veil is being lifted from at the start of the week, as well as it relates to that. Maybe you're getting more clarity on what you want to do in this new chapter and step into a new direction around, as it relates to social media or friend groups or community in some way. And really, you're getting that clarity at the start of the week. And it might bring up some old, like I said, belief systems or patterns, or ways you're viewing life that just don't really support you moving forward. Later on Tuesday, there will be an emotional shift out of your subconscious and into you. So this will feel a little bit like an emotional renewal midday on Tuesday. And that is really supporting this. It's almost like the fog has been lifted. You really went maybe deep into what was going on underneath the surface of things, and there's a big fog that lifts as we get into Tuesday, and there's something about that that really shifts your perspective, and maybe this new belief system or something really clicks into place of how you're viewing the world around you and what you're changing about your mindset and your perspective to support where you're headed, as opposed to perpetuating where you have been that you don't really feel aligned with anymore. That continues into Wednesday, and it even more so feels integrated and embodied. You might also be communicating from this new version of you. Like something might just slip out of your mouth that you're like, whoa, I was like working on that forever, and it just clicked. That's how this feels. I don't know how else to describe it, but it's like something really just clicks into place about how you're viewing life. And it really feels like there's a lot of momentum towards where you're headed in this new chapter in major ways. Thursday, there could be something challenging that maybe happens with your career, or your public image or reputation that challenges you emotionally and kind of maybe brings up to the surface, like, okay, do I want to handle this how I used to, or do I want to like handle this how new me handles it, kind of thing. And that's just a little short, temporary emotional upset. But I do feel like it will force you to see things differently, and more so integrate this new version of you, and maybe career direction that you're stepping into as well. Later on Thursday, it feels like whatever happens creates again this shift in you. There could be something really emotionally challenging with money related to that, and maybe needing to like really get real with yourself and honest with yourself about your situation, and if you want to stay in it or if you want to really change it. Friday, the emotional focus is really again on your money and what ways you're needing to expand it to better take care of or support yourself, or feel more aligned with what you're giving versus what you're getting in your job. Are you receiving what you feel you're worthy of, or does something need to change about that? It feels like over the weekend you might get more clarity on that and really like speak up for yourself as it's needed to make some have some change there. Sunday, we have the full moon in Leo in your area of communication. So I feel like by the end of the week, you're really going to feel this sense of empowerment with what you want to change about your life. And it feels like a lot of clarity comes as the week progresses. And as we end out with this full moon, it's like, okay, this is what I need to do. This is how I'm moving forward. There's a sense of a newfound confidence that comes with it and empowerment. So that is your week, Gemini. Really exciting. Let me know how that resonates in the comments, and I'll see you next week. Hi, Cancer Rising. We start Monday off with the emotional focus on your long term goals and visions. What has been going on in y'all's career? Because starting at this week as well, Neptune moves into your area of career, public image. There might be something you really have to get real with yourself about as it relates to a new beginning in your career, how you want to move forward differently than how you have been. It's almost like a veil has been lifted, and whatever you started back in March of last year, maybe put on pause, is getting a revisitation in a major way. And it's like, okay, now it's time to do this thing or head in this direction. And there might be something on Monday as well that is emotionally challenging for you around that, maybe around money or resources, or something, a way you have to be maybe vulnerable in order to speak up for what you want and need moving forward as it relates to this new chapter. Tuesday, it feels like there could be a big emotional shift for you as it relates to your long term goals or visions, or community. And then later on Tuesday, there is a lot of emotional support towards making a major change around your money, your resources, investment, debt, taxes. I mean, that's major focus right now for you, Cancer Rising, is in your area of vulnerability and other people's resources. So really getting clear on what maybe needs to change about how you handle those things. And maybe there's a need for you to get a little bit more vulnerable as it relates to what's going on with you. Um, so that you can have more harmony with the changes that you're making. Does that make sense? Wednesday, there's more emotional support around that as well. There might also be this need, like middle of the week, for you to take a lot of time to yourself alone to reflect on everything, and get more clarity through a meditation or just being alone with yourself. That feels like a big energy in the middle of the week. And later on, well, Wednesday into Thursday, that feels like there could be a big shift that takes place because of that, that really affects your perspective, your mindset, your belief systems, how you're viewing things. And maybe you come out of that feeling emotionally renewed and feeling like, okay, I'm going to handle this differently. Here's what I'm going to do. It's like you come out of hermit mode with like a plan. And that kind of comes to fruition on Thursday. There could be something that you get, again, a lot of clarity around, like a veil or fog lifts around something, and you feel this emotional renewal in order to really communicate it or share it. And it's almost like there's a new you that emerges from this. On Friday, there is an emotional focus on expanding yourself in some way, whatever has been a focus of you that you are stepping more into, that you're expanding, that you're growing. Since the summer of 2025, it really feels like it all kind of clicks more into place as we end out the week, especially Friday. There's a big emotional focus on eh, expanding your sense of self support and self care, maybe related to like speaking up for yourself and your needs earlier in the week contributes to feeling like, okay, I got this. Like, I feel like I'm finally at a place where I am supporting myself more than ever, and not gonna let things fly anymore. There could be something on Saturday that comes up around that that's a little triggering, with work or with career. But again, it's like you're handling things differently and you're not going to step back into old patterns because you've really like gone there and and healed it. We end out your week on Sunday with a full moon in your area of money. There could be something that comes to fruition around money related to what you're doing with career. This could be a lot more money coming in. This could be finally getting that raise or whatever it is. But it feels like something is really coming to fruition with resources, with money, with possessions, that maybe you've been really wanting and working towards for the last 6 months or even longer. So that is your week ahead, Cancer. Let me know how that resonates in the comments. And I'll see you next week. Hi, Leo Rising. We start your week off with the emotional focus on your career. What's going on that you're changing about your career or your reputation or your public image? There's a lot of focus there at the start of the week, and maybe also kind of putting pressure on something about a relationship to change or people in your life to change, like who you have around you. Obviously, I mean, you can't change people, but there's a need for you to change who you spend time around or who you consume on social media, or it's like something about people, everyone in your life that's not you is changing massively, and that could challenge something about career on Monday. Maybe there's a conversation you need to have with somebody at work or something like that. Um on Monday. And then it feels like as we head into Tuesday, there could be some big shift early on Tuesday around whatever's going on in your career. It could be an emotionally tied shift. That doesn't really make sense, but there could be some big emotional shift within you about what's going on with career. It feels like an internal shift, like seeing it differently all of a sudden, or changing your perspective of life. I mean, now that Neptune is in your area of how you view the world around you and your mindset, your belief systems, there's a big moment that happens at the beginning of this week where you really start to see the world differently. And this began back in March. There could be something really massively cha- uh really massive really massive that has been changing about your perspective and how you view the world around you that really clicks into place at the start of this week. That could positively influence change in your relationships on later on Tuesday. There could be something that maybe you do, like you go to somewhere to socialize or something, and you meet new people, and it feels more empowering and inspiring. It feels more like this is what you've wanted, or this is where you've been heading, and now it's all kind of coming to fruition. That feels like a big focus. The middle of your week is really on where you're going, who you're talking to, maybe also tying that into your long-term goals or visions in some way, getting more clarity around all of that. This could even be like what you want romantic relationships to look like as well, or having a conversation with somebody about that, if that applies to you. But this is really about who you spend time around and who you talk to, what content you consume, even on social media. There's a lot of focus on making changes to that are necessary for you to feel more supported with the information that you consume. As we get into Thursday, there could be something around debt, taxes, resources, maybe even vulnerability or intimacy that's challenging your long-term goals or visions or community. There could be like an argument or something where you maybe have to get really vulnerable with somebody. And then as we head into later on Thursday, the emotional focus shifts into your subconscious. So this that whatever happens, that's a challenging kind of conversation or a conflict that happens. It feels like it kind of triggers hermit mode in you. And, I think that would happen anyway these days, whether or not there was something challenging that happened with somebody in your life. It does feel like there's a need for you to kind of like Thursday, Friday, retreat a little bit into your inner world, get some alone time, maybe through meditation or out in nature, whatever it is, to just get some clarity on what's going on, really underneath the surface for you, and maybe looking at things differently. Um, and there could be something that if you don't, like, intentionally take that time away from people to give yourself space to process something, there could be something really triggering that happens Friday or Saturday, to kind of force you into alone time, um, so that you are able to process whatever this is that's going on for you. As we get into Saturday and into Sunday, we have the full moon in Leo in your area of you. So there's going to be this emotional sense of renewal. It feels like maybe kind of like a dark night of the soul. I hate to call it that, but it's really like this internal time for you to look at something in order to really fully shift it for good. And then you come out on the other side like renewed and really stepping into this new, more embodied version of yourself, it feels like, as we end out the week. So that is your week ahead, Leo. Let me know how that resonates in the comments, and I'll see you next week. Hi, Virgo Rising. We start your week off with the emotional focus on your perspective of life. There could be something really majorly changing about your mindset, maybe related to health or work or some sort of healing you're doing, either to your physical body or your mental body. There's something really massively changing about how you view the world. Your perspective, your mindset is really massively changing this week and related to maybe also impacting work in a positive way. There's a lot of things that you're taking action on to transform and change about your work, about your health, either physical or mental or both. And also like how that trickles down into the way that you show up for work or what you do on a daily basis for work could be massively changing as well. Now that Neptune has moved into your area of resources again, there's also this focus on, okay, what do I want to do with money? How do I want to invest it? Or what do I need to pay off? Or what do I really need to take care of and be responsible for? There's a big focus on lifting the veil around money, so that you are really like coming at it from a more responsible place. And like I literally just started doing this, like writing a list of everything that I need to buy that is a little bit more expensive than like my normal expenses, like things like that, where it's like you're needing to get more organized with things, as it relates to maybe things about money or resources you've been avoiding. So there's a big focus on that as well. Tuesday, we shift your emotional focus from your perspective, from changes to your mindset into your career. So, Tuesday is really kind of like a foreshadowing of what is going to change about your work and your career moving forward in 2026. Tuesday and Wednesday, even, are kind of little glimpses of what is going to become more of a focus for you in career and work moving forward into 2026 and really be a focus of the next 7 years in your career. It feels like positive changes. It feels like there's something that you're acting on, that you're transforming, that you're really wanting to put out into the world that's different. Or maybe if projects had been put on the back burner, it's like now it's go time. Now I'm moving forward with this thing. I'm really doing it. No more putting it off, no more keeping it on the back burner. It's like you're really doing it. And there's a lot of emotional drive and a lot of emotional focus on putting your what is that saying? Putting your nose to the grindstone or whatever it is. I feel like that's not the right saying, but there's a lot of focus on actually doing the thing, and starting to really fully move into a direction with maybe something that you had put off for a little bit. Thursday, the emotional focus shifts into your long term goals, visions, community, friendships, also social media. And at the start of this, later on Thursday, there's something that maybe about that challenges um, what's going on with your resources and your need to maybe get more organized. It's almost like, okay, maybe you really want to go hang out with your friend or whatever, or you really want to do this thing, but you also have to be really disciplined or organized with resources in some way. And so there's kind of this conflicting energy, and it forces you to evolve and to grow in both of those areas and really be more discerning, with what you're doing and how you're doing it. As we head into Friday, there it feels like there's a lot of emotional expansion in terms of your community, in terms of who you have around you that maybe feels a lot more supportive, that feels more nurturing, like maybe where you're going, who you're talking to, as well as maybe your relationship with social media or groups in general feels really supportive. Like if you wanted to go to a group event, I feel like Friday is really the night to do it because of this energy. It feels really also like it could heal further whatever's been going on with your resources, with money kind of things, um, as well. As we head into Saturday, the emotional focus shifts into your subconscious. This might be a need for you to have a little downtime to really get more clear on those changes that you're making to your physical health, your mental health, and really how to balance all of it, as well as like the changes that are going on with work or the expansion or that's going on with work. It's really kind of like as we end out the week, the focus is on, okay, how do I manage all of this? How do I organize my time? How do I organize my energy? And also make sure I can take care of myself along the way and not neglect any part of me or my joy. That's going to be the focus of the full moon as well for you, Virgo, that we have on Sunday. What do you really need to be incorporating more into your routines that bring you joy? Or maybe it's spiritual practices or um, something like that that brings you joy as well. So that is your focus of the week, Virgo. Let me know how that resonates with you in the comments, and I'll see you next week. Hi, Libra Rising. We start your week off with the emotional focus on your resources, on money, maybe how you're sharing money with other people. This could also be on debt or taxes or paying things off. Kind of like where's the money going and what are you doing with it? Maybe to invest or to save, things like that as well. There could be big internal shifts or emotional shifts that are occurring at the start of the week with your money as well. Maybe related to changes you're making to work or dating, as well as creative passions. Maybe you're launching something new or really putting a lot more energy into creating something that the goal ultimately is to bring in more money for you to have more to work with, to do bigger things with. That's a big focus at the start of the week for you. And now that Neptune is in your area of relationships again, there's a big kind of focus on like getting real with yourself as it relates to what you want in relationships, what's going to work for you, what's not. This is every type of person in your life. Maybe this is getting clear about, okay, I can't work with these people anymore, or these coworkers aren't aligned with me. I need to figure out something else. This is not just romantic relationships that are getting kind of a wake up call. This is also everyone around you. Maybe there's certain friendships or certain people that you live around or whatever it is that you're like, okay, I just can't put up with it anymore. That's kind of the vibe. It's like what veil what veil have you had over certain people around you, and that is going to kind of majorly lift as we start this new transit with Neptune. Also, what was going on for you with relationships back in March of last year until September, that's also getting a revisitation as well, and maybe calling for you to integrate or actually like take action on something that maybe you didn't back then. As we head into Tuesday, the emotional focus shifts onto your perspective, onto things that you're maybe learning or teaching, could be on international travel, as well as just how you're viewing life. Like, I feel like your worldview has really changed. And that could also be changing your romantic life, your dating life, could also be changing your creative passions. And it feels like there's a lot of forward momentum. Like maybe you're launching something new or really wanting to like write a book or put it out into the world, and it feels like there's a lot of momentum towards that at the start of this week. um Once you've kind of dealt with like what's going on underneath the surface, it feels like, okay, now I'm taking action on this, now I'm moving forward with this. Maybe something that you put off or has been kind of on and off for the last year or two as it relates to something you're creating or putting out into the world. It feels like it's like, okay, now I'm doing this thing, it's time. I'm gonna publish the book, I'm gonna write the book, I'm gonna, be consistent with my social media accounts or whatever it is. It's like it really is, this week is the push to do it. Continues into Wednesday. There could be something you're maybe wanting to share or talk about or launch as it relates to that as well, a creative passion. And I feel like it's just about, again, your mindset around all of these things is changing. There might be something else in another area of your life that's really pushing you into this. But it's been something you've wanted to do. It's just like the push wasn't there yet. And now the push is there. And you can't ignore it anymore. That could also be an energy that comes up on Thursday, as the emotional focus is going to be on your career and on your image, your public reputation. So, what are you wanting to be known as, and how can you nurture that? How can you further support this new image or reputation that you're building, or stepping into a different career or wanting to be known for something in your career that's maybe different than what you have been known for, have been building something around. And that could also relate to what's being unveiled with relationships and with people around you as well. Friday, it feels like there's a big emotional expansion in career. This could be a creative inspiration. This could be a kind of more emotional motivation and drive towards doing something or creating something in your career. This feels really good towards any changes you've been wanting to make with work and career, and it just kind of feels like all week it's building momentum, and you're feeling maybe more motivated or inspired to do these things than before. Saturday, the emotional focus shifts into your long term goals, visions, community, as well as social media. So, again, there might be a lot of momentum this weekend as we end out the week on what you're creating, what you're putting out into the world, whether it's, supporting your local community or it's supporting your community on social media. It feels like you're really putting things out there in a new way that feel more fun and feel more joyful and playful for you than maybe what you had been doing before. Again, it's really getting out of the going through the motions and stepping into what do I actually want, what feels best for me, what feels most supportive and fun. And that is a huge focus of the full moon in Leo that we have for you on Sunday in this area of your life as well. There could be something you're launching, something that really manifests with social media that you've maybe been building over the last 6 months, or with community or with long-term goals and visions. It kind of feels like it all comes to fruition as we end out the week. So that's your week ahead, Libra. Let me know how it resonates in the comments, and I'll see you next week. Hi, Scorpio Rising. We start your week off with the emotional focus on your relationships. There might be something you're really wanting to change about that. Maybe that's putting pressure or challenging something about your home or your living situation or family. Kind of feels like at the start of the week, those two areas are kind of challenging one another, but it is pushing you to evolve and grow in ways that are needed for you in those areas as well, and really come more into alignment, come more into harmony with what's actually going to support you moving forward in your home, in your living situation, or with relationships, or both. Now that Neptune is in your area of work, there's something about your work or something about your physical health or your routine. But I feel like for you, it's balancing physical health and work, or maybe like what you're actually doing for work hasn't been supporting your physical health, and so there's a need for you to shift it, and you can't really hide from it anymore as we head into this week. There's a big veil that's going to lift around whatever this is, and it's happening so that you move in a new direction and you really take action on it. This could be something that started for you back in March of 2025, and maybe just kind of was put on pause as we got into the summer, or got a revisitation. It feels like now is like really it's go time now. You can't ignore it. You can't put it off anymore. There's no more leaving it on the back burner. And you may really have to have a conversation with somebody in home or family, um, and really stand up for yourself in order to like make this change. As we get into Wednesday, the emotional focus shifts onto your resources, vulnerability, intimacy as well. So maybe, part of this conversation you need to have with somebody really involves getting vulnerable. It could also be just getting more clarity about your resources, finances as it relates to home or family. There's a lot of emotional oomph and like momentum in that area of your life towards changing something in your home. It could be like money comes in to help with a move or help with family stuff or something like that as well. Could be like money comes in from somebody else or something unexpectedly. But also on Thursday, there could be something emotionally challenging with that and what's going on with dating or romance or creative passions. There could be something emotionally frustrating just for like a little bit. That again, like every challenge that happens, whenever I see this in the energy, it's like it's challenging, it's uncomfortable, but it is forcing you to evolve in some way, that is gonna actually better support you moving forward. So that's the energy whenever there's something that feels really challenging and feels really hard and difficult. It's like, what is the lesson? How is it supporting you to grow and evolve in maybe ways that you wouldn't have otherwise if that thing hadn't happened, right? So that's very much the energy middle of the week. As we get into Friday, the emotional focus shifts into your mindset. So everything that came up earlier in the week might really be supporting you to shift your perspective around something, and really view things differently, and maybe be really disciplined and committed to how you support yourself through the ways that you talk to yourself. There's a big focus on shifting your mindset, shifting the way that you talk to yourself, you speak to yourself, and how that influences the world around you that you experience as reality. That's a focus Friday and especially Saturday. There on Saturday feels like there's a lot of emotional expansion towards some new mindset or new perspective, that could directly challenge something about work or your physical health or some sort of identity that you've had tied into work or tied into like your routine or something. There's maybe a really big opportunity for you to shift that and to expand into something different so you can have a life that feels more aligned with you, or have a relationship with life that feels more aligned with who you are moving forward, how much you've changed and grown, as opposed to like, when I don't know, you stop wearing a certain style of something and then you try to go back to it and it like doesn't fit the same, it doesn't look the same. It's like, "Oh, I used to wear this." That's kind of the energy, but it's with your identity. It's like you can't go back to what you've outgrown. And then as we end out the week for you, Scorpio, we have the full moon in Leo happening in your area of career. So there's a big emotional focus on your career, your reputation, your image as we end out the week. And there could be something that really comes to fruition around all that, that maybe started about 6 months ago. Maybe this is a promotion or a new career altogether that feels more joyful, feels more fun for you overall. So that is your week ahead, Scorpio. Let me know how that resonates in the comments, and I will see you next week. Hi, Sagittarius Rising. We start off your week with the emotional focus on your work. There could be you might be really busy with work at the start of the week, or there could be just the emotional focus on what you're doing differently about work, and maybe bringing in more talk of health or talk of things that you've learned about your health or routine or things like that. There's a big focus on balancing work with physical health, and you might be blending the 2 more so than you did before. There could also be something about that that maybe challenges a belief system or challenges you to really speak up or speak your ideas or share information differently than you have been before as well. A lot of momentum towards speaking your truth this week, especially on Tuesday. Really taking action on some new belief system, or transforming the way that you talk to yourself and the way that that comes through in your communication to others, and also how you share ideas and how you share information. There's a lot of change happening to that, as well as maybe your daily routines. Now that Neptune is in your area of dating and creative passions, those things can no longer be veiled. There's a truth that maybe you've been avoiding about dating, or a creative passion or project that you can't ignore anymore. I love that that rhymed. And at the start of the week, it's like a veil has been lifted and you really have to step away from it, whatever this is, that you have maybe been not wanting to see or not seeing clearly. There's also going to be something around that that maybe contributes to, like I said, a change in your work or your physical health in some way too. Or maybe you're making this change so you can better support your work and your physical health. Later on Tuesday, the emotional focus shifts into your relationship, so that could extend into a person in your life. Maybe again, you really need to speak up for yourself and your truth in new ways. The emotional focus is on your relationship, so this is going to maybe apply to people around you, and maybe there's people you need to cut ties with, or stop hanging around or whatever it is so you can have space for better, more aligned people to come in. Is the major energy as well middle of the week, especially on Thursday. It feels like that there's a lot of emotional harmony, really Wednesday into Thursday, of having a hard conversation maybe with somebody, relationship, or could be romantic or not, could be a friend or just somebody you've been hanging around. There's maybe a need to set some boundaries or speak up for yourself and just be really honest and real, um in order to move forward in ways that are needed for you. And if this relationship does that with you, great. But if not, it's like it probably needed to go. um there could be also later on Thursday something emotionally challenging about that and what's going on in work, um what's going on with home, what's going on with family. Later on Thursday, the emotional focus shifts into your resources, into debt, taxes, inheritances, money, maybe vulnerability or intimacy as well. So there's a big emotional focus, as we get into the weekend, on what's going on in your inner world, what's going on with your like emotional health. Could be intimacy, vulnerability, like I said, or like resources, money, maybe getting more clarity on like what about money or finances is going to feel more supportive for you moving forward. Maybe there's something you want to do more for yourself, that feels more supportive than things you've done with money in the past, something around that. And there could be something about that on Saturday that really challenges you to heal something within dating, romance, or creative passions or pursuits, related to an old version of yourself that no longer handles those things in the same way. As we end out the week on Sunday, we have a full moon in your area of perspective, of mindset, of how you view life. So there could be something that really becomes more embodied as we end out the week about how you're viewing the world around you that maybe has been building over the past 6 months, and really kind of clicks into place as your new perspective of the world around you. So that is your week ahead, Sagittarius. Let me know how it resonates in the comments, and I'll see you next week. Hi, Capricorn Rising. We start your week off with the emotional focus on your dating, your creative passions. There could be something about that that really is getting an emotional boost at the start of the week. Could also, though, challenge something about money. There could be something about a creative passion or project that you were doing or pursuing, that maybe was challenging money in some way. And so it's kind of forcing you to evolve and grow and maybe change something about either of those areas that really needed it. So you can transform what's going on with resources and with money as a whole. Now that Neptune is in your area of home, there could be something you're getting a lot of clarity around as it relates to family patterns, childhood stuff, maybe as well as your actual living situation. There's kind of like a veil that is lifted in that area of your life, and you suddenly feel more clear and more aligned, with whatever has been happening in your home and family that maybe has felt really triggering. It feels like there's more of an embodiment and more of a veil that's lifting of like, okay, I'm starting to see this differently than I had been before. There could also be a shift on Tuesday that supports that, an emotional shift in romance or dating, or creative passion project as well. As we head into later on Tuesday and into Wednesday, the emotional focus shifts onto your work, your physical health, and positively supports and harmonizes with what you're doing in your finances and your possessions and your money. Maybe you're launching something new, and it's bringing in more money for you than it has been. It feels like there's a lot of good support, emotionally towards work and money at middle of the week, especially Tuesday and Wednesday. As we get into Thursday, though, there could be something about work that maybe is emotionally challenging, something in your day to day or conversation you need to have really kind of calls for you to set boundaries. It feels emotionally challenging. There may be something you really need to get clarity around as it relates to your mindset, and how to kind of communicate this or communicate something from a more aligned place than maybe you would have in the past. Like a healed version of you needs to kind of speak to this person or speak about this as opposed to like past you. um As we head into Friday, the emotional focus shifts into your relationships. There could be something that maybe if you're wanting a relationship, you meet somebody. There is the potential for that over the weekend, Friday, Saturday. But there could also be something as we get more into Saturday about a relationship or somebody in your life that challenges maybe childhood wounds or triggers. Again, it kind of brings up this old version of you again. And you're like, am I going to act from that place or am I going to act from the healed version of me and really move forward to not recreate these patterns over and over? That is really what the energy feels like as we get into Saturday. And then Sunday, we have the full moon in your area of money. It feels like whatever you've been building with money or wanting to maybe pay something off, debt, taxes, inheritances kind of comes to fruition on Sunday with this full moon that is happening in your area of shared resources. This could also apply to a spiritual transformation or something that change, a big change that's going on in your inner world. Again, like with the healing you've been doing underneath the surface of things, could really manifest positive results for your money as well. So let me know how that resonates with you, Capricorn, in the comments, and I will see you next week. Hi, Aquarius Rising. What is going on with you right now? Because there is a lot of focus on you, on your identity, on your sense of self, on maybe this big renewal of your life in a lot of ways and fully stepping into some new chapter and version of yourself along with that new chapter. It's like it might have felt like like your old life has completely fell apart or died in some way, so you can step into this new existence and build it on a solid foundation is what that feels like. And on Monday, there could be something about that that really challenges something that is emotionally going on in your home or in your family in some way. Now that at the start of the week, Neptune is in your area of communication and day to day errands as well. There's something about how you communicate or where you're going, who you're talking to on a daily basis that really gets a gets a shift, gets a veil lift, and you can't ignore it anymore. This could also relate to big time the new identity that you're stepping into as well. Like whatever was a focus for you beginning March of 2025 into September and maybe got kind of put on the back burner, was kind of slowed down and got a reevaluation. It feels like now it's coming back up for a reason because it's you're meant to move forward on it at this time. As we get into Tuesday, it feels like there's a big emotional shift that takes place in your home, in your family. Maybe this is like in your inner world, could relate to childhood patternings or wounds as well. Take it as it resonates, but it could positively support something that's going on with your money or your finances or material possessions. There's a really big need at the start of the week as well to transform you, maybe completely reinvent yourself. Wednesday, the emotional focus shifts into dating, romance, creative passions, or as well. Maybe there's something you're really launching or taking action on. Could happen as early as Tuesday, but it definitely will be a focus on Wednesday as well, where there's a lot of emotional harmony and momentum towards sharing whatever this is, putting it out into the world. If it's some new project or thing that you're creating that you're wanting to share, it feels like there's a lot of momentum towards doing it and really putting it out there. But on Thursday, that could feel a little emotionally challenging to what's going on with your money, what's going on with your finances. It could really challenge you to grow and evolve how you're handling finances and what you're doing with the money that's coming in so that you kind of handle it differently. Um as we head into Friday, the emotional focus shifts onto your work as well as your physical health and really prioritizing self care, really prioritizing work, as well as daily routines that are going to support you and what you need moving forward that feel really nurturing for you. Saturday, there's a big focus on that as well as it relates to your money. Literally, like how you're caring for yourself could positively impact your money, either positive or negative. It's like if you're neglecting yourself, that might show up in your money. But as soon as you start to really nurture and care for yourself in the ways that you need and maybe have been neglecting, it positively impacts your money. Something I don't know, it doesn't sound super logical to me, but that's the message that's coming through. It's like you really need to be supporting yourself, and taking care of yourself as much as you care for others and whatever you do for work or whatever this is, and it's gonna positively impact your money. As we end out the week on Sunday, we have the full moon in your area of relationships. Something could really come to a head, come to a manifestation with relationships, whether that's meeting somebody or getting really serious about somebody. It feels like there's something maybe you've been working towards over the last 6 months with a relationship or relationships in general that really by the end of the week come to a head and feel more aligned, and feel more towards like, okay, this is what I've been wanting or building for the last year that hasn't really come to fruition yet. It feels like it all starts to culminate by the end of this week. So that is your week ahead, Aquarius. Let me know how that resonates in the comments, and I'll see you next week. Hi, Pisces Rising. We start your week off with the emotional focus on your day to day, where you're going to, who you're talking to on a daily basis, as well as your communication and how it's playing into all of those things. There could be something about that that challenges a subconscious thing that's been a focus as well. Like, what's going on in your subconscious or your mental health right now, Pisces? Because there's a big focus on transforming things that have been maybe hidden from you about subconscious beliefs or patterns or stuff that you didn't even maybe know was there, like really deep underneath the surface. And it's being brought up so that you transform it, so that you don't take it with you into 2026. And there might be something emotionally challenging that happens on Monday in order for you to really deal with that in a healthy way and to face it, to really clear it out. Now that Neptune is in Aries, it is in your area of money, in your area of resources. There's a veil that lifts there. There's some kind of clarity you get around money, and maybe that's related to a new venture, business, or moving forward with money, finances, resources in some sort of way. There's maybe a new idea that comes about that and what you want to do moving forward with money or resources. There could be more creative inspiration towards launching new things to bring in more money or something like that. Um, yeah, very much lots of creative inspiration, it feels like on Tuesday. Maybe something you've been wanting to do or like had in the back of your head that you want to do, and it's really starting to take form and really starting to come to fruition, it feels like. As we head into Wednesday, well, later on Tuesday and into Wednesday, the emotional focus shifts onto your home and family. There might be something about those things that you're changing. Again, really, the middle of the week, the focus is on your inner world and something that you're healing within yourself. Maybe that was, that happened during childhood, or that was something that, your family taught you, or something. These like underlying subconscious things are getting a really big focus and boost, so that you heal them. So that, again, I feel like a broken record almost, but so that you don't take them with you into the new year and you really like deal with what's going on so that it doesn't keep repeating these same patterns and the same ways. On Thursday, there could be something about that that feels a really emotionally challenging to a new version of you that you've been stepping into, maybe a new mature or version of yourself related to, again, like some part of you learned to be that wasn't really you. And so this week is really about fully letting go of that so you can step into your new chapter, and into a new version of yourself that's more aligned with where you're headed. There could be something about that on Thursday that feels kind of challenging to like, there's emotional challenge between your creative passion, something you're putting out there into the world, and what's going on with money. But it kind of forces you to evolve. Like maybe you have to raise prices, or maybe you have to view something differently, right? As it relates to how the money's coming in, or what's going on with that. It could also bring up an old identity wound. Again, these kind of things that aren't even really yours, so that you see that they're not yours, that you didn't choose them, you just took them on, and that you evolve them. You choose differently. Um, Friday, there could be something really big that comes up around that that really feels like an emotional clearing or expansion, and that could create a new idea of what I feel like you're just going to get so many ideas this week. Things might feel challenging in the moment, but then it's like, oh, it leads to this thing, or it leads to this idea, or it leads to wanting to do that, or share that, or create that. It's like in the moment it feels frustrating, but then it leads to something really positive. Um, so that's really cool. Let me know how that resonates, Pisces, and like how that actually shows up this week for you. There could be, something that continues around that on Saturday that really triggers again these old identities with money. But as we end out the week, we have the full moon in Leo in your area of work. There could be something really positive that comes to fruition that you've been building over the last 6 months as it relates to work or your physical health, and doing and stepping into more things that bring you joy with work and with career. Or with just your routine, like what you do on a daily basis for work or for money or to take care of yourself. It feels like there's more joy, there's more embodiment. Um, with whatever this is, and you feel like you end out the week with this sense of like, okay, here it is, like so that is what's going on for you, Pisces. Let me know how that resonates in the comments, and I will see you next week. Oh my god, as promised. Giving y'all now at the end of these videos a sneak peek into the week ahead. This is the week of February 2nd. Everything that has kind of built leading up to February 2nd, the week of this week, I can't even put it into words. I'm like stumbling over my words because I'm like, this is massive change, massive transformation. It really feels like leading up to the new moon eclipse we have in Aquarius on February 17th. There's just, it might feel really frustrating, it might feel really uncomfortable. We're going to have things squaring Uranus and Taurus because everything is moving into late degrees of Aquarius, and that it's not going to be super comfortable. This is fixed sign energy and fixed signs don't like to change, but this is like massive fundamental change, which to me, like I have a lot of Scorpio on my chart, so that really excites me of like we're going to be really fully moving into whatever new direction we've been headed, and there's no looking back anymore. Like come the first week of February, things are massively changing, and it's like hold on, like I hope you're prepared for this, because there's no going back and there's no avoiding it. Like things are going to massively change for everyone for the better the first week of February. So that's what you have to look forward to, and next week's update we'll be going more into it for sure. That's just a little sneak peek. I'm so excited. Let me know how your horoscope resonated with you. Keep me updated throughout your week, what's going on, and how all this is showing up for you. Because this is insane energy. I knew 2026 was going to be insane. Now that we're living it, it's blowing me away, even though I knew to expect it. Anyways, let me know in the comments. Come join my membership if you want a more intimate place to chat about these transits and your chart and how they're showing up for you. And I'll see you next week. Bye.